What's up, movie fans? So, J Spice Reviews here, and I guess I'm just gonna say I got my script here. So, I'm reading off of that, and I'm using my brand new webcam right here. And we're gonna be starting off a brand new review series. You know, like I haven't seen one, whatever, something like that. Franchise that got me into horror because it was so different. Final Destination. So, Final Destination is a 2000 horror movie that was directed by James Wong and stars Devin Sawa, Ali Larder, Chris Smith, Tony Todd, Sean William Scott, Kristen Clove, and the background of this movie is very interesting. The writer Jeffrey Riddick read this story in the newspaper, and there was this woman that was going home from vacation, and she was about to go on her flight, and then her mom called her, and she was like, "Hey, I don't want you to go on that plane. I got a bad feeling about it." So then I guess the woman was like, "Hey, you're right, mom." So then she canceled her flight and got another plane. The one that she was supposed to go on crashed later. And then Reddick saw this and he was like, "Well, what if that woman was meant to die on that plane?" And they wrote a script about it. And then he was just starting out as a script writer at this point, and he wanted it to be a script for an episode of X-Files, which is why in the movie there's like FBI agents, because you could tell it's left over from X-Files. And so yeah, that's the background. It was supposed to be an X-Files episode, but a New Line Cinema exec read the script and he was like, "Hey man, this concept is awesome. You should turn it into a movie." So then he did. Excuse me. So basically, the plot of this movie is about this guy, regular everyday high school nerd named Alex Browning, played by Devin Sawa, and him and his high school French class are going on a trip to Paris, and Alex has a premonition that the plane that they're on will blow up mid takeoff and kill everybody on it. And then he freaks out, so he gets him and all of his friends kicked off the plane. And then a month later, they all start dying one by one. And then Alex is trying to figure out why is this happening and how can he stop it. Very original concept. So it's time for my thoughts on the film. First, the good. The atmosphere. This movie is very dark and serious. It's full of dark lighting and lots of thunderstorms. And the score is really good too. Like the doo 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 doo. It's awesome. Um, it's scored by the same woman that did the Batman animated series from the 90s. And another thing is that the characters, they all feel like actual human beings. They would act like a normal person would if they were in that situation. They feel real, all their dialogue and everything. Um, all the acting is really good. Like Kristen Clove is the woman who plays the one teacher out of the group. The rest are all the teenagers, Miss Luton. She's really good at being paranoid and depressed and upset and angry at Alex. And she's just like really freaked out by him. And then Sean William Scott's in this, you know, from American Pie to Where's My Car, Evolution, a bunch of old early 2000s comedies. He's a really good, funny comic relief because in a movie this serious, you're gonna need some laughs to like lighten the mood a bit, ease the tension. And Kirk Smith is really good at playing a douchebag because he's this guy who's like, "Oh, I'm never gonna die. My time will never come. Death is too good for me," or whatever. And he's a complete asshole to Alex. And then Tony Todd, he played Candyman previously. I haven't seen any of those. Maybe I will do that as a series in October at some point. But Tony Todd's amazing. He's super creepy, and he's just like, "I'll see you soon," and everything. Um, and the standouts though are the two leads, Devin Sawa and Ali Larder as Alex and Clear. They're like very just confused about death, and well, Alex feels like a normal person because he's not like this big hero who's like, "I'm gonna save the day, I'm gonna stand up." He's just like trying to figure out what's going on with everything. and he's like trying to figure out everything about Death's design. You see, he's like researching about the engineering behind airplanes, and he's trying to figure out why the plane would blow up and everything. And then he's like figuring out the order of how everybody's gonna die. And then Ali Larter's Clear is really good too. She's the one character who actually believes Alex, and she's just really fascinated by him because when he had the premonition, she didn't see it, but she felt it. It's not really explained how, but they don't really explain how any of this works in the movie, but it's good. Leaves it up to the viewer's imagination, you know? Things are scary when you don't explain them. Whenever you explain the killer's backstory or the history or whatever, it usually ends up sucking because it gets rid of the tension, and then you're like, oh, well, now I know what happened. Like Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger, they were ruined by that. Um, and the premonition in this movie, whenever you watched it, because I just rewatched this movie today for the marathon, obviously, it is actually very low key. Like, it wasn't as big as I remember it to be. It's just like one quick explosion in the plane, and then it's over, pretty much. Um, but still, it's great. It's just you don't get to see all the individual deaths like you do in the future movies. And another cool little detail, one of the cool little details is that all the characters, their last names are named after big influential figures in the horror industry. Like Sean William Scott's character, his last name is Hitchcock, after Alfred Hitchcock, obviously, director of Psycho. And Alex Browning is named after Todd Browning, and there's also a character named Todd. And he's the dude who did, I think, the original Dracula, and I'm pretty sure it's another vampire movie named Freaks. I don't really know. But that's cool. And the FBI get involved in this, like I said, which is cool. It's more realistic because, like, with a plane blowing up and a kid saying he saw it, you know the FBI would get involved with that. They'd be very interested. They'd be like, was he a terrorist? Or, speaking of that, if this movie came out after 9/11 instead of 2000, this would have been way different. This franchise probably would have never continued. And my last positive is the biggest one. The only reason you're here, the kills. Pretty much it. And that's pretty much the only reason you would watch this movie. They are amazing. Like, they set it up, and they have a bunch of red herrings, and you're like, oh, that's gonna kill him. No, that is. And then it's like, nope. And then they finally show it, and then that payoff is beautiful. And one of the deaths in this is quite possibly the best jump scare in cinema history. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. I'm not gonna spoil it though, if you haven't seen the movie. But as with every film, there is a few flaws, and there's not really much. There's a couple of like weird editing. Like there's a scene where all of the characters are getting interrogated by the FBI. They cut to the characters so fast. It's just like you see one character and then boom, right away the other one. It's like, well, what? It was a little jarring, but that's like a little nitpick anyway. And then otherwise, some of the dialogue is really awkward, and it's just like, hey, I'm exposition, or it's just like supposed to be meaningful stuff about death that feels like, why is that in here? But overall, I forgot to show the All This Nation. I'm trying to cover it up. The others up. That's the first one. It is a very good, dark, suspenseful movie. That's the great beginning to a great franchise, which only has like one misstep in my opinion. But hey, when we rewatch these, maybe one of them is really bad, besides the one that I think is bad. So I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10.